right, everyone. So guided practice, page 3. And let's look at number 9. Writing the polynomial in factored form from the given graph. Looking at the end behavior, what is the degree of this polynomial? Even or odd? Odd. What about the sign of the leading coefficient? Positive or negative? Negative. So negative LC. So my A value should be a negative when we solve for it. Next, what points do we know? Let's see, 1, 2, negative 3. We've got an x-intercept at negative 3. That is crossing. C for cross. And then we've got another x-intercept at 2. What's that one doing? Bounce. Bouncing off the x-axis. And then we've got our y-intercept at negative 6. So 0 for the x, negative 6 for the y. Get as far as you can with writing the equation and solving for the A value in 1 minute. And remember, you can use f of x equals or y equals. But we're going to need an A value. The factors would be x plus 3 with an implied multiplicity of 1 for crossing. And then x minus 2, what's that one's multiplicity going to be? 2. And folks, here's a good way to check yourself. If you forget that bounce means multiplicity of 2, if I figured out the degree of this one without that 2 there, it would just be 2 and would be an even degree and not an odd degree. So you kind of have ways of checking yourself based on the other key feature things that we learned about earlier. So folks, that is the skeletal structure of our equation. Y-intercept, we're going to plug the negative 6 in for the y. We're looking for our A value. We're going to plug in 0 for the x. We're going to plug in 0 for that other x. And then we're going to need to make sure that we're following our PEMDAS rules. So 0 plus 3 is 3. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Squared would be 4. So I get negative 6 equals 3 times 4 times A. That's 12A. Folks, why is my A value not negative 2? Which our brain looks at and says, well, I'd like it to be negative 2. Why isn't it negative 2? How do we solve for A? We don't divide both sides by 6. We have to divide by the 12 to get rid of it. So goodbye 12s on this side. Negative 6 over 12. You can use your calculator if need be. But hopefully you know that that reduces to be negative 1/2. I got a negative leading coefficient, just like I had expected. So now writing that final equation, y equals negative 1/2 for the A, x plus 3, x minus 2 squared. Questions? All right, folks, number 10. Get as far as you can in 2 minutes. See if you can do the whole thing. Ooh, folks, for the y-intercept for this one, this graph is so lightly drawn, but does that point look like it's on the grid? We're going to say that that y-intercept is 0, 2.5. You could use 5/2, but I say just work with the decimals. We have two x-intercepts, one at -1, one at 2. Both of those are bounds. So our equation is currently looking like this. I'm going to start this one up here. Y equals positive a value times x plus 1 squared, x minus 2 squared. It changes signs from the root to the factor form. So then we're going to plug in 2.5 for the y value and 0 for the x value. We're using our y-intercept to find our a value. One squared is 1. -2 squared is 4. So 2.5 equals 4a. Oh yeah, it's calculator time. Because 2.5 over 4, that's like having 5/2 over 4. We do not want to have fraction inception or fraction on fraction. We only want one fraction bar. So this is where I would definitely use your calculator and math, enter, enter. 2.5 divided by 4, math, enter, enter. Boom. A is 5/8. And don't forget, it's not just about finding the a value. We do have to write that final equation with that a value in place. So our final equation would be y equals 5/8 times x plus 1 squared, x minus 2 squared, and hallelujah. That concludes the learning for Unit 3. So tomorrow, we're going to be doing more practice and taking a homework quiz to see how we're doing with this stuff. We're going to do lots more practice in the review. The next block of homework is not due until tomorrow night, the next 2 pages. A lot of you guys already got pages 1 and 2 done, which is super. So pages 3 and 4 are due tomorrow. We will be doing more in the guided practice together to get you ready for that. But if you want to use the last 6 minutes of class to get started on some of those other homework problems, you certainly can.
Try the bathroom.
Yes. So does anyone else in here have a sore throat? Because that's what I've got going on. I don't know if it's just from conferences that my voice is tired or... But I had a sore throat on Saturday and it went away. But now it's back, so I don't know.